In the mid-14th century, Europe faced an enemy it had never encountered before. It was neither an army nor a visible threat. The Black Death was an invisible catastrophe that advanced silently, leaving behind nothing but death, fear, and profound transformation. In 1347, merchant ships arriving at Mediterranean ports from the Black Sea carried not only spices and silk, but also a deadly disease. The source of the illness was the plague, which we now know to be a bacterial infection. However, for people of the time, it was perceived as God's wrath or a poisonous curse drifting through the air. European cities, with their narrow streets, inadequate sanitation, and dense populations, provided ideal conditions for the disease to spread. Rats and the fleas that lived on them carried the plague from city to city, and humans unknowingly became part of this chain. The symptoms of the plague were rapid and terrifying. High fever, severe headaches, and darkened swellings that appeared on the body within days. Once these symptoms emerged, the chances of survival were extremely low. Medical knowledge was limited. Doctors did not understand the cause of the disease, and treatments often made the condition worse. Bloodletting, incense, prayers, and amulets were all reflections of desperation. Within just a few years, the epidemic wiped out nearly 1/3 of Europe's population. In some regions, the death rate rose to half. Villages were completely abandoned, cities fell silent, and fields were left unplanted. Social order began to collapse rapidly. Death was so widespread that traditional funeral rites could no longer be performed. Mass graves were dug, and bodies were buried hastily. The church was the last authority in which people placed their hope, yet it could not stop the epidemic. This deeply shook trust in religious institutions. Some people became more devout, while others turned away from faith entirely. Scapegoats were sought. Foreigners, minorities, and especially Jewish communities were blamed. These accusations led to pogroms and acts of mass violence that are historically documented. Yet the Black Death did not bring only destruction. It also opened the door to profound transformations that would shape Europe's future. The dramatic decline in population made labor extremely valuable. Surviving peasants and workers were able to demand better wages and conditions. The feudal system was shaken, and landowners began to lose their former power. This economic shift contributed, in the long term, to the breakdown of medieval social structures and the foundations of modern Europe. A significant intellectual shift also occurred in the field of medicine. The epidemic demonstrated that blind obedience to authority was not sufficient. Observation, experience, and record-keeping became increasingly important. Quarantine practices were implemented systematically for the first time, especially in port cities. Ships were held offshore for weeks, slowing the spread of disease. This practice is considered an early example of modern public health. The effects of the Black Death were also reflected in culture and art. Death moved to the center of life. Paintings, literary works, and folk narratives echoed this dark atmosphere. People felt the fragility of life more deeply than ever. The Dance of Death motif became a powerful expression symbolizing the spirit of the era. The idea of life's transience left lasting marks on the world of thought. Although the epidemic began to subside around the 1350s, it never completely disappeared. It resurfaced intermittently across Europe for centuries. However, the first major wave marked a unique turning point in human history. The Black Death brought Europe to its knees, not only demographically, but mentally as well. It led to the questioning of the old order, the redefinition of knowledge, and the rebuilding of society. An invisible enemy permanently altered the fate of a continent and irrevocably reshaped the course of history.